seen shadow figures in the corner of my eyes that disappear as soon as I turn to look at them.
I heard 2 loud footsteps, like thump, thump.
Anybody in here? Can you give us a sign that you're here?
It was like right next to him on the stairs in the attic.
What was that? Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Something just fucking moved up there. That was loud. Whoa.
Do ghosts exist? Like many of us, Ryan Miller just isn't sure, and isn't sure he wants to know.
I don't want there to be any truth to it, because that also means that there's something out there that I don't understand and can't do anything about. A lot of it comes from fear of the unknown. I mean, things like paranormal activity tends to manifest itself in an intimate way, right? So like it happens at your house or at a hotel or while you sleep. Things happening around you that you can't control or that you can't understand, I think that creeps me out.
I don't think that a fear of ghosts is a justified fear.
Kate Creighton is a member of the New York Shadowchasers, a group of paranormal investigators.
You'll walk around a corner and there's a person standing in front of you, a person you don't know who isn't supposed to be there. That, of course, causes alarm. And that's natural. That's our body's natural reaction to being startled, is that,
Kate's been startled many times. She and her team have done investigations at dozens of locations and have found evidence of paranormal activity in 80% of them. Kate's husband and fellow shadow chaser Phil Creighton explains the high percentage of positive results.
People come to us. By the time it's gotten to that point, they're like, we know this place is haunted. We just need you to make sure that we're not insane.
We know most people would say, you're talking out your hat.
Brian Gray and his wife Jerry own the Collinwood Inn, a brick Italianate mansion in Oneida, New York that they've converted to a bed and breakfast. There are many stories of unusual occurrences at the Collinwood.
So we wanted documentation from people that did this on a regular basis and were good at their job.
A shadow chaser's investigation at the Collinwood gave Ryan Miller the chance to, reluctantly, confront his fear.
I didn't think I would ever want to do that, first of all, because all the pieces are kind of in place, right? Like, there's already stories about this. You've got a group of investigators that believe wholeheartedly. Then you put someone like me in there with an overactive imagination. It's almost like you're setting me up to have a scare, right? That doesn't appeal to me.
Within a couple of days of being in the house, you'd start to hear footsteps.
Brian and Jerry Gray started noticing strange things, including ghostly apparitions, almost immediately after they moved into the Collinwood.
I have seen the silhouette of a woman on the back stairs.
I have caught a lot of them out of the corner of my eye, and then when you who the heck's there standing there? You take a double look and then you see them fading away.
I've also experienced the phantom cat brushing against my ankles and looking down and there's nothing there.
I was laying on the bed one night. I was laying there on my side, and next thing I know, I feel somebody sit on the bed right behind me, right at the small of my back. And when somebody sits on the bed, you can feel the bed go down. Well, I felt the bed go down, like somebody sat there. I jumped about a foot up off the bed, and I'm spinning around at the same time. And I'm looking, and I'm going, who the hell just sat on the bed? And there was nobody in the room with me.
The Shadow Chasers had already done a couple of investigations at the Collinwood before the night Ryan Miller joined them. On their first visit, Phil Creighton and his team were convinced the house was haunted within 15 minutes.
We saw a shadow dart across the far wall in the parlor and set off all of our equipment at the same time, and the shadow darted across the far wall and hit near the lamp. That's where it vanished, and the lamp came on.
Then they began hearing strange noises directly overhead.
We're listening to this, stomping around upstairs. All of a sudden you hear, female voice and a male voice start actually conversing right above us, and there wasn't anything up there. No one up there as we expected.
Are there any spirits here who wish to speak to us?
On another night, Jerry held a seance and didn't have much luck connecting with any spirits, at least not in the seance room.
We started hearing footsteps upstairs and creaking and stuff moving around until it got to the point where it sounded like a chair had gotten dragged across the floor above us.
What was that? Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Something just fucking moved up there. That was loud.
Phil Creighton and fellow Shadowchasers team member Sean Nelson ran upstairs to check out the noises.
I just got that vibe. It's like, okay, got to poke my head in the attic door. It's got that creepy vibe to it. So I edge open the attic door while Sean's sticking his head in one of the other rooms. It looks almost pitch black at this point. So I open up the attic door and I'm like, okay, there's nothing there. I was expecting something to be there. So I turn to tell Sean that there's nothing there. And I look back and there's a white cat coming down the stairs at me. It was like less than a foot away. So I jump about 10 feet and land on Sean and we stagger back. And by the time we recover, we look back, there's nothing there on the stairs. And I was like, I knew that was going to happen, but I just didn't want to admit it. So I was like, okay. And so Sean decides to go up the stairs into the attic. He gets halfway up the stairs and he's like, he hears breathing. And the breathing gets closer on the stairs. We're like, okay, what's that? And all of a sudden Sean's like, okay, that's a little bit too close. It was like right next to him on the stairs in the attic.
I was ready to go.
A week before Halloween, Ryan Miller makes his first exploration of the supernatural.
Part of that, though, was that, I spent a little bit of time in the evening kind of, reading up on some of the local stories of Central New York hauntings. So it was like I was a little bit prepared for it, but also, had a nice big glass of scotch before we went up the porch. So I was ready to go.
Ready to go, but not without some trepidation.
First thing that I see when I walk in is it's a beautiful Victorian home, but I turn over to the left, and it's everything stereotypical that I could think of for a haunted house, right? Old paintings, and there's, a parlor with an old organ and a chessboard and a big green orb on the coffee table, and then there's these guys sitting around watching a infrared camera feed from the attic.
The attic, with its footsteps, crashes, and phantom cats. The
first thing I had to do was I had to go to the bathroom, and the bathroom was, of course, like up the stairs in a room, and so I didn't even want to go to the bathroom at this point by myself, let alone in the attic.
But that's where he's going.
We have some new technology here that we've picked up.
First, though, Phil Creighton takes some time to explain the Shadowchasers' methods, which include making sound recordings to listen for electro-voice phenomena, using full-spectrum camera gear to detect photographic anomalies like orbs, and monitoring equipment that measures, among other things, changes in temperature and electromagnetic activity.
The whole idea behind everything is it's not necessarily the electromagnetic radiation or the EM fields that are actually the ghosts, as that could be a byproduct of their presence, but one of the even better indicators is static electricity.
Phil outfits Ryan with a little gadget that measures changes in static electricity. It looks kind of like a beeper.
The green turns off and it goes to a yellow, and then it goes to a gold, and it goes to red. And red means that there's something very, very close to you. So I told everyone it was the crap your pants meter, right? As it goes to red, get a new pair of underwear. My heart was beating going up those stairs.
Is this Elizabeth? Turn the light on.
And so I'm not even in the attic yet. I can't see anything. I'm just going up this staircase, and they're like, it's like they'd already found something, and they're having a conversation now. So I'm like, what am I getting myself into right out of the gate? I've been here 10 minutes, and you're already having conversations with a spirit in the attic, in the dark.
Sean Nelson's using a flashlight to communicate.
Well, we believe that, you ask entity to manipulate the flashlight to turn it on, and make it like that. And you can do it.
There were definitely, I think, like 2 or 3 instances where it was almost as if on command that light went off and that light went back on, and that scared the crap out of me. But I just tried to maintain composure, oh, of course it did. This is what you guys are the professionals here. Of course the light went on and off because you're talking to a spirit in the attic.
We've seen that it's actually thermal conductive.
Phil Creighton explains how the flashlight play works. The Shadowchasers have noticed that drops in temperature often accompany the manifestation of spirits.
And it's the reverse, where you think the circuits would get warmer and they would actually connect and be able to heat up and then turn on. It's the reverse. The light it gets colder, the light turns on.
But I'm looking at my ghost beeper. My ghost beeper's not doing anything, right? So that's for a logical person that also is inherently skeptical of this. That's a flaw in the data for me.
So no apparent changes in static electricity, and after a few minutes, the flashlight stops responding.
Then I was like, oh, was the original thing that I experienced just dumb luck? Or, as Sean said, maybe they're just tired of us.
Overall, it's a pretty quiet night at the Collinwood.
Do something out of the ordinary, please?
I mean, quite frankly, after I got out of the attic,
If you're not going to cooperate with us, then we're going to have to leave.
it was easy from there. We went down to the basement, and that was, trying to contact people down in the basement.
We're not going to stick around if you're not going to try and communicate.
And none of that stuff really affected me. It was fine.
But the question remains, do ghosts exist?
Talking to Phil, I feel like they had a very true belief in the way that things are manifested in terms of energy and then the way that they can detect them, right? So they had a very scientific method, but then I came away thinking that, you know what, I don't know if I believe or not, but I'm definitely a lot tougher than I thought I was. So I don't give myself enough credit when it comes to, experiencing something that I might categorize as scary or fearful. Like sometimes it's important to just have a glass of scotch and walk up onto the porch.